As we go to air tonight, uncontrolled fires continue to flare right across Tasmania. The Premier has announced an interim bushfire recovery committee will be established to oversee the rebuilding process. We'll speak live with Lara Giddings in just a few moments, but first, let's take a look at how today's bushfire situation unfolded. Emergency warnings were issued throughout the day for several areas as strong gusty winds fanned both existing blazes and resulted in new outbreaks. That emergency alert is currently in effect for the Murdunna fire. A watch and act alert remains in place in Hobart, Forcett and Lake Repulse. An uncontrolled has now been contained. Smoke and ash is covering much of the state, and health experts are warning those affected to take precautions. A total fire ban remains in place across Tasmania until midnight. We begin our coverage tonight at Forcett, where the Ellendale Road fire continues to burn. The seaside paradise of Marion Bay was hit late Friday afternoon, with a handful of locals overwhelmed and undermanned in the one-sided fight for their homes.
Such was the size of the firestorm, many small communities have been suffering in their isolation. Marion Bay and its residents, though, now prepared to share their stories of bushfire hell.
Terrible. Absolutely terrible. Never ever want to go through one again. It was horrendous.
Local sculptor Simon Brooks battled the flames for over 12 hours. Son Tully, his only ally in the fight for their home.
Tully and my son and I sort of pretty well had it under control, and basically till we ran out of water.
Simon lost his house, workshop and business of over 30 years, all irreplaceable, but already he's turned to restoring his livelihood, adamant he'll return to Salamanca Market this Saturday.
That's probably all left, or maybe we should take him hold of that.
The oyster farm is situated next to seaside properties, now burnt out like many homes. But once it's caught alight, the situation went from bad to worse.
Once that oyster farm got on fire, we thought we was going to die with the black smoke that was coming in there, and we thought we was going to melt out there, and then we had cars start to explode in front of us.
This is Boomers Bay, or what's left of it. The fire savaged these surrounding hills before making its way down to this pristine community. Residents are tough, but rebuilding is no small feat.
They've been here a long time, the ones that have lost their homes here, and I can't see anywhere else to live.
It's a beautiful place.
The Forcett fire has already burnt more than 22,000 hectares of the Tasman Peninsula and continues its march through the landscape, with the Eaglehawk Neck and Primrose Bay area still very much at risk. Mitch Broughton, Southern Cross News.
Changing weather conditions have made life tougher as convoys try to get supplies in and people off at the Tasman Peninsula. While fire still threatens towns, the recovery effort rolls on. Volunteers pulling up their sleeves to help people doing it tough.
Supply trucks rolled towards the Tasman Peninsula just after 9 this morning. A massive Commonwealth Government vehicle joining the likes of Vinnie's, food trucks and repair crews allowed through to help the effort. Coming the other way, people able to leave the peninsula for the first time. Vehicles loaded up after a harrowing few days. Frequent sirens, a reminder the danger hasn't passed. And the hard work has only just begun.
The Tasmanian spirit and the resilience is just amazing. My crew here today are just proving it. They're into their third day with no sleep and lugging bales, and they're still laughing and giving me a hard time. So I think that's a good sign.
Those organising supplies gaining the help of politicians, eager to make a difference.
Yeah, I think like most people, we just want to chip in, do our bit and give Tasmanians in need a helping hand. Everyone's pitching in here. It's the only way we know how to do things, and the best thing is get out, get your hands dirty a little bit and do it.
Fencing gear is a priority, with animals dangerously roaming free.
Anywhere where the roads are open and we can get fencing gear in, we will.
The town of Sorell is buzzing with people wanting to help. Hairdressers volunteering their services to make victims of the fires feel a little bit better.
We've actually got a makeshift basin set up there so we can give them a nice shampoo and blow dry afterwards, so hopefully it'll keep the spirits.
Labor MP Rebecca White's sharing her office with teenagers needing somewhere to hang out. The centre, run by Headspace,
The whole community's been affected by the bushfires, so we're just wanting them to come together and have a place where they can relax.
Olive Gordon has been making coffees since Saturday, raising money for the Orielton station.
Everything I earn from the sales goes back into the fire brigade.
Aurora continues to work towards restoring power to fire-affected areas. While a permanent solution might be weeks away, some on the peninsula should have electricity by the weekend.
And the solution is to actually bring in mobile generator units. Now, these are big units that actually inject electricity straight into our 22,000 volt network.
And a technology upgrade makes it safer for crews to do their work.
We've got a GPS solution in the vehicles. That means we can track where our guys are, and also means we can send them messages to say, get out, the fire has turned.
A health warning too for those returning to properties affected by fire. The Chief Health Officer encouraging people to be aware of the risks.
People can get hurt hands, they can get cuts, lacerations, but also importantly there are a range of other environmental harms and hazards in the dust, potential in starting to resume use of the rainwater tanks.
Lifelines there for Tasmanians needing help.
We believe that people will start to feel the emotional impact of the crisis in about 2 to 3 weeks' time. So we'd be asking Tasmanians to use the 11 13 14 telephone number.
And claims of more than $42 million have been lodged, according to the Insurance Council of Australia. Alex Johnston, Southern Cross News.
With blazes continuing to burn across Tasmania, the fire service is issuing an SOS call to neighbouring states. Teams from as far away as New Zealand are set to join the battle, starting as soon as this evening.
Little respite for firefighters entering their 5th day battling blazes across the state. Assisted by wind, the fire that started in Forcett tore through the township of Dunalley, flaring up, threatening Eaglehawk Neck and surrounding towns.
So currently we've got embers and spotting and ash blowing into the Eaglehawk Neck, Pirates Bay, Dewtown area. So we've been telling people for a number of hours now that there was potential for that and they should consider relocating to a non-affected area.
As our fireys battle exhaustion and fatigue, Chief Officer Mike Brown calling on support from all corners of the country as well as overseas.
As of yesterday, I put in a request for additional personnel from Western Australia, South Australia and as far away as New Zealand. We've got some remote area team specialists coming in. They should all be with us by tonight, ready to put into operation in the field.
Police say they're still on the hunt for about 100 missing people, with grave concerns held for a number of them.
There are only a handful of people that we are specifically making rapid inquiries to identify their locations, and we're looking at a number of intelligence sources to be able to do that, and we'll progress that the next 24 hours.
The Deputy Commissioner also denying continuing reports of looting on the Tasman Peninsula.
One of the priorities for our officers is to obviously maintain security of those unattended properties, and we'll continue to have a high police presence in the area to ensure that the properties are safe and secure as best we can.
Minister for Emergency Services David O'Byrne looking to coordinate a recovery campaign she says will take more than 12 months. The government considering calling upon a fly-in expert to lead the effort.
That's something that we're considering, and the Premier will make an announcement on that, no doubt, very soon.
Chris Rowbottom, Southern Cross News.
Despite a total fire ban in effect today, new fires have broken out. Just after midday, a bush blaze took hold in the Holwell Flowery Gully area and tonight remains out of control.
Residents issued with an emergency warning with winds tearing through, fanning flames. No stranger to disasters, Beaconsfield mine survivor Todd Russell rallying firefighters.
They're expecting a southwesterly change this afternoon, so we're going to try and work as quickly as we possibly can to try and contain the fire inside the containment line.
Stewart's, Holwell, Nettle Folds and Flowery Gully Road residents advised to take precautions today. The fire service warning embers, smoke and ash may affect areas. Help coming in from the air as helicopters attacked the fire front. The fire alert level near Holwell later downgraded to watch and act. Residents of Murdunna also on alert as a fire burns nearby. At one stage, the blaze hitting the highest level of alert, emergency. That bushfire still uncontrolled. South of Bicheno, the situation is the same, although the threat to communities has passed for now. Destruction is left in the wake of the fire's path, these are what used to be properties at Carlton Bay. A meeting is being held at the Bicheno Memorial Hall at 7 o'clock tonight. Emergency services on hand to discuss firefighting efforts and recovery for the community. Michael Breen, Southern Cross News.
For the latest on the reaction to the bushfire disaster, our reporter Alex Johnston is with Premier Lara, who joins us live. Good evening, Alex. Another tough day around the state.
Hello, Joe. Yes, it's still really tough out there for fire crews. Joining me is the Premier of Tasmania, Lara Giddings. Premier, it's a cool change, but the winds are still causing trouble.
Yes, the weather is a little bit better right now, but it's been a difficult afternoon fighting fires, and of course we still have active fires that are not under control. So we all must remain absolutely vigilant, continue to listen to radio, continue to look at social media for advice, particularly in those parts of the state that are confronting fires as we speak.
What did you do today?
I had the opportunity to visit Murdunna this afternoon, and I must say it was wonderful to see the refuge there, the people who are being supported, the volunteers who are doing things like cooking meals for people, and to hear the stories of those who've been directly affected by the fires. What's really important is that we have the appropriate services in place to assist those families who have been affected, and I do believe that those services are working well.
An announcement from the government this afternoon. You're setting up a recovery committee. Can you explain what that means?
I've established today an interim bushfire recovery committee, which is a high level of government with the Deputy Premier, the Minister for Police and Emergency Services, David O'Byrne, also involved, as well as the Acting Police Commissioner, who is the State Controller in these circumstances, and the head of the Premier and Cabinet. We are there to oversee the work that will be done and to work with local communities as they look to how they rebuild.
And finally, a message out there for people still caught up in what's been a horrible few days for Tasmania.
We are still in the thick of a serious situation, and people must remain vigilant and listen to those warnings. We have had some new fires start today in other parts of the state, and of course we're still very concerned about that major fire in that Tasman Peninsula area. People have been evacuated yet again today in parts of that vicinity, and it's so important people continue to listen to the emergency services.
Premier, thanks very much for your time. I know how busy you are. Joe, back to you at the news desk.
Yeah, thank you very much for that, Alex. Alex Johnson joining us live with Premier Lara Giddings. And we'll have more on Tasmania's bushfire disaster later in the bulletin. But first, coming up after the break, we'll take a look at the situation across the rest of the country as several areas reach catastrophic fire danger. That's next.